I think the poll-based rates have taken a bit of a knock in light of Libor, and probably understandably so. But let's look at it from a different perspective. And so to understand the issues surrounding Libor, let's forget about rates, and let's talk about weights. I think it's instructive to look at this because you can help identify where the problems were with Libor and maybe what some of the solutions might be. So speaking about weights, how much do I weigh? I'm not going to tell you. But we could, and of course the easiest thing for me to do would be to step on a scale, but I don't think AEI has a scale for me to step on. So we don't have that mechanism to measure my weight. So maybe what we can do is ask the audience. I could stand up, you could take a look, you could maybe compare yourself to me, you could compare yourself, me to your husband or boyfriend and get a sense as to how I compare. We'll take a poll, we'll knock out the top quartile and the bottom quartile, we'll take an average, and maybe that's a pretty good estimate. Maybe not, but it's probably a pretty good estimate. So you're applying your own knowledge, your own observation, your own experience to determine what my weight is. Now, how about if I give you some additional information that you might find useful in terms of what my weight is? How about if I told you what the scale read this morning? How about if I told you how much what I had for breakfast, what I had for lunch? And by the way, Alex, it was very, very delicious to lunch. Thank you for that before the conference. What if I told you whether I exercised this morning, how long? Maybe you want to take my heart rate. Other bits of information that you could observe to inform your decision as to what you would say my weight is. Now, I think with that information, you would have estimates that I think are probably pretty accurate, and you'll be able to come up with using the same polling and topping and tailing of the top quartile and bottom quartile, we'll probably get a pretty good measure of my weight, probably pretty good, almost as good as stepping on the scale. Now, all of this is kind of an objective assessment. You're looking at me, you're making an assessment of what I weigh. Well, now let's turn it around and let's make it a little bit more subjective. So let's talk about what the average weight of everybody in the room is, okay? So the question is going to be, what is your weight? And that's the question you'll need to answer. And to make it interesting, we will have AEI post names and weights on their website, so there's that sense of verification out there. Now, if we're all trim and fit, we might be perfectly proud to put our real weight up there and to have people assess and see what that is. Now, on the other hand, if we are in varying states of fitness and flabbiness, maybe we'll tend to put a number in that might be a little bit lower than our actual weight. And let's also assume that, just to make it interesting, a few of you with your person next to you, you've kind of done an over or under wager on what the average weight in the room is going to be.